Just after midnight on August 7, 2025, sweeping new tariffs announced by President Trump officially took effect, sending shockwaves through the global economy. The world watched as the clock struck 12, marking the start of a new era in U.S. trade relations. This move marks a dramatic escalation in U.S. trade policy, with immediate and far-reaching consequences for businesses, consumers, and governments around the world. U.S. customs agents are now collecting duties at every port of entry, targeting goods from over 60 countries and the entire European Union. The new tariffs are being enforced with unprecedented speed and coordination. Tariff rates range from 10% to a steep 50%, impacting everything from raw materials like steel and aluminum to finished products such as electronics, cars, and pharmaceuticals. No sector is left untouched. The administration claims these measures will reduce the trade deficit and revive American manufacturing, bypassing Congress by invoking a rarely used 1977 emergency law. Officials insist this bold action is necessary to protect American jobs and industries. The White House argues that persistent trade imbalances threaten national economic security, and that higher import costs will make U.S. products more competitive both at home and abroad. Supporters believe this could spark a renaissance in American industry. The hope: force trading partners to renegotiate deals on terms more favorable to the U.S., and to address what the administration calls years of unfair practices. The strategy also aims to push foreign companies to invest in the U.S., creating jobs and boosting local economies, while encouraging global firms to shift production stateside. But critics warn of global market turmoil, as investors react to the uncertainty and volatility triggered by the tariffs. Many fear retaliation from trading partners, questioning whether this economic shock therapy will deliver growth or simply raise costs for American families and businesses. The risk of a damaging trade war looms large, with tit-for-tat tariffs threatening to spiral out of control and disrupt global supply chains. As the world wakes up to this new reality, businesses and governments scramble to assess the fallout, bracing for what could be a prolonged period of economic uncertainty. The stakes are high and the global showdown has officially begun. Every decision now carries enormous weight for the future of international trade. The era of aggressive U.S. tariffs is here. Its consequences, still unknown, will shape the world economy for years to come. The new tariffs have redrawn the global trade map, creating a complex patchwork of winners and losers across continents, with rates carefully tailored to each country's economic relationship and political standing. Brazil faces a punishing 50% tariff, a move that threatens its export-driven economy. Switzerland, known for its financial sector, is hit with a steep 39%, and Canada is targeted with a 35% rate, each designed to force tough negotiations and extract concessions. The EU, Japan, and South Korea managed to secure a 15% rate after weeks of intense diplomatic talks, reflecting their strategic alliances and economic influence. Meanwhile, the UK faces a 10% tariff, a relatively moderate rate but still a significant hurdle for British exporters. Southeast Asian nations like Vietnam and Indonesia are hit with tariffs near 20%, impacting their fast-growing manufacturing sectors and raising concerns about supply chain disruptions. China's fate hangs in the balance, with a possible tariff hike looming unless a fragile truce holds. The uncertainty is already rippling through global markets. India's case is unique. Starting at 25%, its tariff will double to 50% in 3 weeks, a direct response to its recent Russian oil purchases and shifting alliances. The administration is wielding tariffs as both economic and geopolitical leverage, punishing some countries while rewarding others, reshaping alliances in the process. Strict anti-evasion rules now add a 40% penalty for goods routed through third countries, closing loopholes and making circumvention far more costly. The message is clear. The U.S. is serious about enforcing these new trade walls and fundamentally reshaping the rules of global commerce. The world's trading system has never looked more fragmented, with every nation now recalculating its next move in this high-stakes economic chess game. On August 6th, just before the broader tariffs, Trump announced a 100% tariff on all foreign-made semiconductors. This move targets the backbone of modern technology, doubling the cost of imported chips and pressuring companies to manufacture in the U.S. But there's a catch. Companies with major U.S. investments are exempt. Giants like TSMC, Samsung, and SK Hynix, who've poured billions into U.S. fabs, avoid the penalty. This carrot-and-stick approach rewards foreign investment and punishes countries that haven't built U.S. plants like the Philippines. The policy transforms tariffs from a simple tax into a powerful tool to attract capital and technology. The goal: make the U.S. the world's essential hub for semiconductor manufacturing. The semiconductor exemption is the sharpest edge of America's new trade strategy. The global response has been swift. Diplomacy, legal challenges, and threats of retaliation. Canada and India are scrambling for exemptions, while others brace for economic pain. The legality of Trump's emergency powers is under court review. A ruling could upend the entire tariff regime. In the Philippines, officials warn the 100% chip tariff could devastate their economy, which relies heavily on semiconductor exports. Many countries are weighing counter-tariffs, targeting U.S. goods like agriculture and manufacturing. The threat of a tit-for-tat trade war looms, with economists warning of mutual harm. For now, most nations are focused on negotiation, but the mood is tense and uncertain. The world is at a crossroads: cooperate, retaliate, or adapt to a new era of protectionism. The next moves will shape the global order for years to come. The stakes have never been higher. The tariff's impact is already rippling through the U.S. economy. Inflation is rising, with prices for goods like vehicles and home furnishings climbing steadily. Manufacturing job growth has stalled, and some sectors are seeing layoffs instead of the promised boom. Real wages are falling as paychecks buy less, squeezing American families. Major corporations like Caterpillar and Marriott warn of profit hits, projecting a $15 billion loss in 2025. Businesses face tough choices: absorb costs, raise prices, or overhaul supply chains. The government expects to collect over $300 billion in new revenue, but critics argue this is a hidden tax on consumers. The debate rages: is the pain worth the gain? Main Street is feeling the squeeze, and the pressure is mounting. The tariffs have ignited a fierce debate among policymakers and economists. Supporters tout them as a bold fix for unfair trade, a way to boost U.S. manufacturing and national security. Treasury Secretary Bessent highlights the projected $300 billion in annual revenue. Critics, including many economists and some Republicans, warn of higher costs, lost competitiveness, and global supply chain chaos. Former Speaker Paul Ryan calls the policy blunt and risky, likely to provoke retaliation and hurt U.S. exporters. Many argue tariffs won't fix the trade deficit, which is driven by deeper economic forces. Instead, they see a massive tax on American businesses and families, with little chance of long-term benefit. The real-world data will decide who's right. The battle over tariffs is just beginning. The numbers tell a stark story. Behind every chart and headline, there are real-world impacts shaping the lives of millions of Americans and influencing decisions in boardrooms and households alike. The U.S. trade deficit hit $582.7 billion in the first half of 2025, a staggering 38% jump from last year. This surge is partly driven by importers racing to beat the tariffs, but it also signals deeper shifts in global trade patterns and supply chains. Tariff rates now vary wildly across the globe: Brazil at 50%, the UK at 10%, and the EU, Japan, and South Korea at 15%. These numbers are more than statistics. They represent new barriers and opportunities for international business. Most foreign semiconductors now face a 100% tariff, sending shockwaves through the tech industry and forcing companies to rethink their sourcing strategies. TSMC's massive $165 billion investment in Arizona secures its exemption, a move that highlights how tariffs are actively shaping global business decisions and where companies choose to build the future. Corporations are bracing for a $15 billion profit hit in 2025, with many executives warning of tough choices ahead as they adapt to the new economic landscape. Meanwhile, the Treasury eyes $300 billion in new revenue. But even as government coffers swell, hiring has stalled in key sectors, raising concerns about long-term growth. Some manufacturing sectors are losing jobs, directly contradicting the policy's promises of revitalizing American industry and putting more people to work. Inflation is on the rise, especially for durable goods and vehicles, putting extra pressure on household budgets and making everyday purchases more expensive for families. The data reveals a policy landscape with clear winners, losers, and a host of unintended consequences that ripple through every corner of the economy. The early numbers are in, and the economic battle lines are drawn, setting the stage for fierce debates and difficult choices ahead. The next chapter will be written in hard data, as policymakers, businesses, and families all wait to see what the numbers reveal next. The world faces a fork in the road: trade war or new deals. If talks fail and retaliation spreads, global supply chains could unravel, stalling growth everywhere. The administration hopes pressure will force better trade terms and more foreign investment in U.S. factories. The semiconductor strategy could create high-paying jobs and boost economic security, if it works. But legal and political challenges loom, including a crucial court ruling that could overturn the tariffs overnight. Rising prices and stagnant jobs may erode public and congressional support. The outcome depends as much on Washington politics as on global economics. The scale of these tariffs is unprecedented, and the world is watching closely. Will this gamble pay off, or will it backfire? The next few months will decide the future of global trade and America's place in it.